What's up, everyone? It is me, Jake, as you can see, and I am joined, as always, by the great Aaron, who is right below
Yes,
me. I see you. You're in Mushroom Land. What's up with that?
I'm in I'm in Mushroom Land because the Gids players aren't getting a new book, and even though I don't play Gids, that also makes me sad because why?
I,
I think everyone understands that same question. So
I gotta be honest. It makes me sad as well. I mean,
I just
it's
don't know why they don't get a book. Like
it.
why it seems like they keep like GW keeps going to the same couple of books that they've been releasing yearly. You
I
know what I mean? Like Daughters of Cain, Lumineth Realm Lords, the fucking
I saw some
not
rumors about the Sons of Baymat and ogres being in a like joint book, which obviously is not the thing. But I was really hoping that that would be the
mm,
situation, and then Gits would be the other book.
I
But
mean, of the two evils, I think that would be better personally than
I wouldn't mind
no
a
good
a,
book.
a joint ogres sons book. That'd
I
be
mean,
fun.
I think the Orc War Clans book kind of
It's ex-
left me with a this is not a good idea vibe. I mean, it's cool because it's really good value, but if you look at the execution,
Give me more
right?
armies in one book, but make them good. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, spend more time on them, I guess, because like we've talked about Cruel Boys. I mean, everybody's talked about Cruel Boys to death, but the reality is like they're just an army that's not very versatile. Like, if you think about it, what can Cruel Boys do that no one else can do besides just not be seen anymore, which is not something that came out with the book,
I was gonna say they
right?
can
So,
they can cover themselves in mud, which is good, but that's besides the point. That's not the reason
yeah,
we're here. No
yeah, not
tangents
at all.
today.
All right, no more, no tangents. I'm sorry.
So
I'm the worst person to call for this.
I mean you're the only friend I have in my whole life, so I have to
Oh,
call
okay.
you. Um,
Um,
well,
slightly, you know.
long story short, we can jump into this here. But for anyone who's not aware, me and Aaron, ever since we moved back to the states, we've been working hard to try to get our local scene up and running. We're up in Illinois by Chicago, and we
Mhm.
are um, running a Discord essentially that is called Broken Ranks, and we've already done one pretty solid. I think it was a successful tournament. They're 1 day
Mhm.
events, and we just try to get as many of the people in the local community around to play. We are running another one of these this Sunday, and we thought it would be fun for one the community and just for whoever is interested in watching. Um, have the opportunity to see the pairings for round one and go through the list together and make some predictions here. So um,
Yep.
we can really dive right into it here. Obviously, before we really dive into the lists, if you're in Illinois and by Chicago, be sure to hit us up. We're always happy to have more people in the community. Um, we're
Yeah.
almost 100 strong now, I think, and we're getting
There's
a lot of good
yeah. There's
traction. So
quite a lot of players, and there's like, I mean, if you're just in the area in the local scene, I mean, typically people get into this sort of game and they play with the same two friends, which is great. I love playing with the same two friends, but at the same time, sometimes you want to, like, you always hear of all the armies in this game, and you probably have only played one or two. So, in the
yeah,
Discord, it'd be a really good chance to like maybe meet some people, try out against some new armies, have some interesting matchups that you would not normally have.
yeah, I'm loving what the community is becoming. So
Yeah.
if you're around, let us know. We'll get you in. Otherwise, I guess you get to spectate from afar and look at these lists here. It's kind of how I feel when I watch the Honest Wargamer talk about stuff that's happening in the UK. But it is what it
Yeah.
is. Um, so let's just hop into it. I have the stats up here for kind of the breakdown of what we're seeing. We have a pretty good spread, a lot of Sylvaneth, a lot of Lumineth, and a couple Sons of Bahamut. But the rest is, we've got one Nighthaunt, one Iron Jaws, one KO, which is you, one
Mm-hmm.
OBR, which is
Same. Yeah.
me. So a decent spread of armies. And I this morning rolled the what's it called? The pairings.
Yep, the round one pairings.
So we've got the round one pairings here, and we're gonna dive into table one, which is good old Dan versus Nathan. Let's pull up the lists here. I am aware of what they're playing, but Dan is rocking some Skaven, and he'll be playing into Nathan, who's running Sons of Bahamut.
Yeah.
So
Which is gonna be a interesting matchup.
I'm excited for this one. This is fun to me. He's got 2 warp lightning cannons. He's got.
I mean, yeah, who doesn't love Skaven? Like, I don't think there's a single person who hates Skaven. If I'm honest.
If you're a Skaven hater, unsubscribe. I mean, they're basically they're the cutest army in the game. But so he's got a Master Molder. He's got Thanquil on Bone Ripper. He's got 2 engineers, 2 Warlock engineers. 2 units of 20 clan rats. They are in Conquerors. 10 storm vermin, 3 warp fiends, and 5 acolytes with a hell pit abomination. So what? I mean, this to me, this list seems pretty balanced. It's a little bit conservative, I would say, for what you
look,
could do, but
I don't know much about Skaven. I've only ever played them maybe like half a game. However, from what I do know, just looking at the list, I think this is going to be a really tough match for him going into Sons of Bahamut. Only reason being that Sons of Bahamut's kind of like a DPS check army. Like, if you can do enough damage turn by turn, you win, basically, right? Because they just don't have enough board control. However, I mean, there's quality damage because you got like the 2 warp lightning cannons, which does mortals, but then you also have some storm fiends, which can also be very good, and you also have a Hellpit Abomination, which again can be good, assuming it doesn't get attacked first. But it seems like his list has a lot of like decent quality damage output, I want to say, but not a good high damage output. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'm trying to see what the maximum damage he can probably do with the 2 warp lightning cannons. So he's rolling. So he could potentially be doing with both warp lightning cannons into 1 Gargant like 24 damage. I mean, does he have enough damage to take out 1 Gargant every turn?
With that's probably cannons? Enough to take out. I mean, just the cannons, no. I mean, he would need to have the storm fiends and the cannon realistically.
Yeah.
Because that's like the maximum damage, right? I mean, every time someone gets enamored with the maximum damage, that's when they get screwed over pretty hard. But I'm not saying he can't win. I think he can definitely win, especially since he's got EQ in here, right? He's got expert.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got some clan rats and expert conquerors. He could just sit on objectives and then slowly but surely whittle down the Gargants.
Yeah, so let's pull up the Gargant list. So Nathan here, he has a Kraken Eater, two gate breakers, Man Crusher Gargants, 2 units of that.
I mean, like 35 wounds, 35 wounds, 35 wounds. Like, that's a lot.
The Man Crusher Gargants, though, 12, he could kill. He could take out both of those turn 1.
Well, 12 each, right? So 24 total. So I mean, he could take out one of those each turn, but that's not really because the Mega Gargants are the ones that count as 30 models of objective. These guys count as 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the Mega Gargants are the problem here because I mean, with them you really need to kill 1 a turn.
Yeah.
In the first 2 turns, otherwise you're just screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is also battle plan is interesting. So the battle plan we're playing on is Prize of Galette or Galette or whatever you want to say. So if he's going to be so Nathan is 5 drops, and I'm almost positive that Dan is more drops than that. So I don't know how many he is. I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's losing on drops. Yeah, this is an interesting one. If you had to put your money somewhere, where are you putting it?
I'm putting on the Mega Gargants because, like, again, if Nathan plays it smart and he doesn't even have to give away first turn, turn two, just walk onto the objective, and then wait.
Yeah.
If you double him, take it, maybe charge one Gargant into something, do some damage. Otherwise, just stand on it for another turn, and boom, you got 2 5-point turns.
I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm gonna put my money on Dan. I'm gonna be
All right.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate. I believe in the dice. I think Dan is gonna blow up a Mega Gargant turn 1, and I think he's gonna
Hey,
his little rats. They're gonna swarm those guys to victory. I
totally
believe in it.
possible, man.
I
It's
believe in
totally
it.
possible.
All right, so into the next one, table 2. It's Chris Walker versus Rich. So let's pull up these. Chris is
Maggotkin.
Maggotkin, and Rich is playing Lumineth. Cool.
Okay.
So I know more about the Lumineth, but let's look at the Maggotkin list first.
Yeah, let's do Maggotkin first. I mean, I think this would be a good talk on the Lumineth side because you have a lot of experience playing as Lumineth. I have so much experience playing against Lumineth.
Yeah, and I did take a peek at his list earlier too, and I like it. So Maggotkin has Horticulus Slimux. I'm gonna be honest.
Horticulus Limux.
I don't know what that guy does, to be totally honest.
I have no idea. I imagine
a Poxbringer, 20 Plague Bearers, 10 Plague Bearers, 5 Blight Kings, a ton of Beasts, some Ungors.
Interesting choice to bring
Nurglings.
Ungors.
I've
never seen that.
Yeah, this is interesting. Feculent Gnarlmaw, that's the terrain. Nurglings, Plague Drones, Blight Lords. So he's only got one.
I'm gonna say that
this
looks like an army of either stuff he has, or he's doing some big brain fourth dimension level of thinking that I'm just not privy to.
I feel like Beasts can kind of slap. They're cool. I think
Beasts of Nurgle, they're super good.
Yeah, Beasts are good.
They slap.
He has Expert Conquerors on the
Blight Kings,
Bearers,
Plague Bearers, and
so
yeah.
That's gonna be 60 models of Plague Bearers, which are tanky as hell. He's gonna have.
I think you're thinking of the Blight Kings that are tanky. The Plague Bearers aren't that tanky.
Oh yeah. You're right. So they're not.
Yeah.
They're not. But still, 30 models. And
yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty balanced list. I mean, he can. This is a list that, in my opinion, seems designed to take objectives and just hold them, while other stuff just distracts.
Send in kind of the drones,
Plague drones,
send in that stuff to kind of have a bit of an what's it called, like a distraction piece, sort of. Do some damage somewhere, take the objectives. I'm curious. So this is where it's going to be interesting if we look at Rich's list.
I mean, what I think, by the way, we didn't even mention the grand strategies in the last one, but very interesting choices. Like Show of Dominance is an interesting choice, in my opinion.
For Nurgle? Let me see.
Yeah.
So that's the one that is get your dudes in four corners of the. So what he's gonna try to do, I don't know where his list went,
but I'm pretty sure it's just the Blight Kings and the Plague Bearers.
Yeah, but if he keeps those alive, you just stand them in the middle. The idea would be he'll probably activate the middle objective turn 1, or whenever he can, put all his shit in the middle of the map, and then just stand there the whole game. So he's tanky enough to where he can keep his models all right in the middle of the map, and he's good because you can succeed in that grand strategy by just having one unit standing in the middle of the board.
Fair enough.
So he only needs 4 models at the end of the game to be standing in the center of the board, and he's going to get it.
Well, 4 Galatian veteran models.
Yeah, which is his Blight Kings, his Plague Bearers, and he has.
I don't think Ungors count as it, and I don't think Beasts of Nurgle count as it. So it's literally just those 3 units.
Yeah, but I mean, if he keeps those alive, he wins.
Yeah,
he's able to win. The
And
loop.
I think it might be a tough one, tougher than you think.
It depends. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people taking it.
Really? Okay.
It's
Cool, maybe. I don't really play tanky armies generally, so
to be
for
honest,
me,
I think the
it's
main
difficult.
thing is how much impact is um, bounty hunters having in the tournament / scene that you play in. If bounty hunters is having a huge impact, it's probably a bad take because those units are going to get wiped out. Like
Hmm.
I didn't take it in my OBR list, which we'll get to, because
Hmm.
which I thought about taking because my Mortec, I'm kind of expecting them to die, you know, to bounty
Yeah. I
hunters.
mean,
So it's up in the air whether that's a good choice. I mean, we're really just gonna have to wait and see
I
how
mean,
it
I'm
plays out.
already. I looked at both Chris's lists and the Rich's list, and they both have bounty hunters. So I think it's probably gonna. We'll see. I think
So
it's gonna be prevalent.
so I love Rich's list. This is almost the list that I brained up on my own desk, but I don't have any wind chargers, so I can't actually play it.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
wind chargers being battle line, he's taking Helon, so he's getting tons of shots in when he's in combat. He can disengage
And
at
they
the
can
end of
move.
the combat phase.
Yeah,
He
and they
has
can move in and out.
Severith. He's got 2 wind mages, so he can heal up Severith. He can teleport people around. Or actually, he can't. He did not take the teleport spell, which is actually
Yeah,
interesting.
this seems like a list that would be a nightmare for any melee army to deal
Yeah,
with.
a Lore
Honestly,
Seeker as well, which is one of my favorite Lumineth models and just like rule sets across the
hmm
board that I never take because I take Techless all the time and I can't really fit them in. But I
yeah.
really
hmm
like this. In terms
You know,
of
it's interesting. Both Lumineth lists in our tournament don't have tech lists, and the list that you sent me as well that you were thinking of doesn't have tech lists, which is very interesting to me.
I think
Only because
Techless in this list would be awesome because in my perspective, it allows the wind chargers to just roam because everyone wants to kill Techless. And this is interesting though. So the way he's going to play this is essentially having these wind charger units running
hmm
around, getting into combat,
hmm
attacking, and then
hmm
shooting. Probably from how I would play it, shooting in combat for extra attacks. They get an extra attack when they're within 3 inches,
right.
and he
hmm
doesn't necessarily care about his sentinels being in combat either. And then at the end of the combat phase, he can disengage. So every time if he's taking second turn and getting charged into his wind chargers, he's
hmm
he's able to unleash hell, get an extra attack with them, and then he also in his upcoming turn is able to get an extra attack into whatever he's in combat with, and then peace out. They're in bounty
Well,
hunters too, so they're able to do
mhm.
more damage in melee, which they don't do a ton, but they're moving around. They have tons of movement. They have tons of shots. They're basically just in a huge annoyance.
So
Um,
here's what I think about this list. I think this list would be much more strong in the previous edition, and the only reason why I think that is because the Huracan guys can pile in away, right? So they can
yeah,
pile in 3 inches away. But at the end of the day, it's still 3 inches, which everyone has a 3 inch pile in. Plus, with that stupid, well, everyone fights in 2 ranks thing.
if you're
You
accurately
know,
positioning Severith though,
if you well, Severith would be fun. I don't think Severith's going to take a lot of damage because he has such a small base.
but for everything, the bounty hunt. I'm fairly certain that the rules for the attacking in 2 ranks is they have to be within a half of an inch. So if you
Well, the
pile
first one
in,
does.
the first one does. So if you pile in back 3 inches and you have Severith correctly positioned with everything else that's in combat, you're not being able to pile in more than an inch or more than 2 inches.
Well, with
So
Severith, I'm talking about the wind charges. If someone gets into the wind charge, is
yeah,
what I'm
but
saying.
you position correctly, and that's not happening. You position Severith in a way where that the wind chargers are being charged, and they
Hmm.
have to get into combat with Severith.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I'm not saying that it's a
I
big weakness. I'm just saying it's the weakness of the list
yeah, and I also
because
think
now you don't really get the benefit of like before. It was like only the front row could attack potentially, but now it's like if you get within that half inch, everyone is going to be able to attack kind of thing,
in crushing,
which is
yeah.
which is a little bit tough for them. It's going to be a very big finessey list.
That's what
I
I was
think,
gonna say. This is like a
mhm,
highly, I think, technical list. If he's going
yeah,
to win with this, it's got to be basically
mhm,
played perfectly because
agreed.
a lot of the attacks here are not that strong actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And it needs to
Wards aren't that great either.
positioning needs to be on point.
Hmm.
And you're right. This list doesn't even have wards, like none.
Wards.
It has no
Yeah.
wards. None of
I
the
mean, the nightmare army for this list would be KO. Is my
Nothing in
opinion.
this list has any wards. It
Yeah.
is they're fully banking on really good positioning, knowing the opponent, and also there
Hmm.
are no Galatian veterans in this list as well, which is something to
Yeah.
note
Which
because
is
or maybe the Sentinels are. I don't know how he took them as
I don't
battle
think they
line
are
here.
because you need to bring in wardens for every what is it for like every two wardens or one warden you can have
Yeah, which he doesn't
something like that.
have. So
He
I'm
doesn't
not
have any
sure how that
wardens.
is happening.
Um, I think
Oh, he
this
does. He
list.
does. He has one list, and it has protection of peace. I totally missed that.
Okay.
So he does have a ward, but I mean that's a small ward, and he's taking the
I mean,
Sentinels
it's 9 inches.
there. So
A whole like it's within 9 inches
of
of
the
the caster.
hero, yeah.
I
So
mean, yeah, but I mean, my thing is it. This list is a really good list. It looks like a super fun list. I'm just gonna start naming nightmare lists, like nightmare armies for every list, and I think the nightmare army for this list particularly is probably KO because
oh,
KO doesn't have to
without a
catch you.
doubt,
You know what
without
I
a
mean? Like
doubt.
we don't need to. In that last one, the plague bearer one. I mean, honestly, anything with high rends will probably be some chaos would be this
Yeah,
nightmare list.
I'm if I have to choose here, I'm going with Chris. I'm going with the Nurgle list for the
Yeah,
win on table two.
Lumis. I'm going for Lumis as well. I think
For Loomies, what?
Lumineth Realm Lords, bro.
Oh, you're going against me again. I'm going
I'm
with
saying Lumineth would win.
I'm going Nurgle here for sure. I think that's going to be an issue for
I it might be. I mean, here's the thing. I think a lot of people give Nurgle a lot more credit for the tankiness than they. I mean, they are tanky, but their base saves aren't that great. And like, I don't know. I've just never had an issue chewing through Nurgle,
I
even
just
with like
I just don't know how
you
much
know.
damage that Lumineth list actually has. It has a lot of annoyance and it has a lot of movement, but
Hmm.
depending on how depending on where objectives fall round 1 with the
Yeah,
prize of
that's
Galay,
fair. Hmm.
it's a toss up, but I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm going
mean,
with
I don't
Chris.
know.
We'll see.
You can go with Chris. I mean, I think we're just being contrarians today. It seems like.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So table 3 is going to be Trevor versus me. So let's
All
take a
right.
look at these lists.
Let's look at
Um,
Trevor's list.
I
Defends what's ours. Again, defend what's ours. That's such an
yep.
interesting take to me.
I think what he wants to do for that is
Just keep you out of his
keep
deployment without
yeah,
attacking you.
just keep me out of
Obviously.
his deployment, which
He's got
honestly I don't think is going to be too hard for him,
he's
considering
got
considering how
fulminators, he's got
slow I
long
am.
strikes. Yeah.
So Calistan, the Lord Relictor, he's got
Yeah.
translocation and an arcane tome with celestial blade, so he's getting the +1 to wound.
Hmm. Hmm.
Vindictors times 3, and then Fulminators, Stormdrake Guard, and 2 units of crossbows.
Yeah.
Um,
Long strikes.
he
I
what?
mean, it looks like a good list. Got a lot of
It's
quality damage.
balanced. It's
That's very bad.
super
Oh
balanced.
yeah.
Has battle line. He's got battle regiment, so he's not he's winning on drops 100% here, which I
Yeah.
think is really smart. He's 3 drops basically, and
Hmm.
then Stormdrake Guard and Fulminators are in bounty hunters, so they're going to be crushing my Mortec. Um,
Oh yeah. It's gonna be
like
you gotta be careful with the Mortec here. I mean, they just have so much speed and plus the deep striking. Um, I mean, it's not really like it matters too much against OBR because you guys don't have a lot of ranged. I mean, you have spells, but that can only take you so far as far as damage is concerned. Um,
I don't want to talk too much about what I don't want him to do.
yeah, which is why I'm just gonna talk through this part because you're the player here. Because I feel like it'll be
But
giving away the strategy. But
if you look at my list, I'm playing Petrifex Elite, which is kind of rare for me. I've always been a
mhm.
Mortis Praetorian Catacross guy. But I
That's the
think
one that negates one rend, right?
Petrifex negates the one rend, yeah.
Yeah. In
Um,
melee or just in general?
in general, just minus
Very nice.
I
Okay.
negate the rend, so it's
Mhm.
good. I also get the
Sweet for you.
command ability that gives me plus one to my rend if I want.
Hmm.
Bludgeon. I have 30 more tech. I have 10 more tech. I have Death Riders for easy battle tactics. My 2 units of Stalkers are not battle line, which is good.
Hmm.
And then me being me, took 3 endless spells because I love magic. I've got 2 Soul Masons. Leech Cavalos, he has an Arcane Tome, so I am at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spells to cast
Hmm.
at 9 drops, though. So I'm losing the
Hmm.
drop here.
You
Um,
are. Yeah.
I don't want to say what I want him to do, but
Yeah.
I will say that I am worried about where the objectives fall first round and how
Yeah.
exposed my heroes are going to be based on how I
Yeah.
deploy. So, depending on what's in the sky for his Stormcast
Hmm. Hmm.
and how well I can screen out things, it's going to
Yeah.
come down. I'm going to be honest, I'm betting against myself on this one, though.
Yeah,
Um,
I am too, if I'm honest with you. Even though, I'm rooting for you, buddy. But this is like it's just his
I
list. It really counteracts your list in so many good ways. Like
Yeah,
it has the mobility, it has the deep striking, it has ranged mortals, which is the worst thing in the planet for you.
yeah.
It's got really hard hammers that also have mortals and the charge and breath attacks and stuff.
I will say
But
one thing.
mm-hmm.
And this will go both ways, but like, if I get first turn, I'm allowed to get my buffs up, which is good.
Yeah, that's true.
If I get
Um,
second, if and he gives me second on the priority,
mhm.
I get to choose the objective, which is also really, really good. That's kind of my
Yeah,
primary worry. So,
yeah.
really, either way, there's kind of a positive to look at it, but I think overall, I'm
Hmm.
really in a bad place with this matchup.
I think
Which,
I would say very quickly, nightmare matchup for this Stormcast list is also Beast of Chaos, in my opinion.
yeah, I
They
think that's,
can't be everywhere at once. I mean, there's so few bodies on this list. Like a guy with 30 Ongors is already going to give you a headache
yeah.
because like, what are you going to commit to kill those Ongors? You know what I mean? Like the Vindictors might not do it. They just, I
And
mean, they don't have a lot of damage,
and I
in my
think
opinion.
I think nightmare matchup for my list is this Stormcast list potentially.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
All right, so we're both betting
Yeah.
on Trevor here. So Trevor, don't let us down. You better beat me. Um, into table 4, we have Carlos versus Connor,
And
which
Connor,
I am excited for this. Um,
Sidetrack. There we go.
we
No
know
place for the
Connor's
weak.
playing Lumineth. Carlos is playing Seraphons. This is a big magic battle. But yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
Zytrek, love it. A
Fun in the
Banner
sun.
Blade, which I haven't played Connor, but I'm pretty certain from things I've seen, he puts the Banner Blade in the shrine, and then
Bro,
the
I've
banner.
never even seen a fucking banner blade on the table in my life.
I don't
Better
know
than I've ever
this.
played.
This is maybe a
Oh,
hot take, but I think the Banner Blade sucks, and I don't know why he takes it, but I think he takes it in every list because he likes the model. It
I
does a
don't know, man.
it does a thing, I believe, where it drops like it has a once per game ability where it drops like a thing that does something to
Mm-hmm.
wizards, or honestly I don't know, but I've never seen it. Every time I've read the War Scroll, I've been underwhelmed by it. So maybe in the comments or something, or in Discord, he can enlighten us on this.
Let's
Speaking of
see.
enlightening, He's taking the Enlightener, the Sonari Enlightener. He got the box set, which is awesome.
Right.
I'm stoked on this. It's taking Solar Flare and Speed of Heesh. Both great spells that are good with its ability, where if it casts a spell successfully on a 3-up, it automatically casts that spell again. So Solar Flare is a like AoE mortal wound spell. He can double cast that. Speed of Heesh, awesome spell. One of my favorites to throw on Teclis in a Helon list. But
also got Overwhelming Heat, and
Overwhelming Heat is not a Lore of Heesh spell, so
okay.
a Lore of whatever spell, so it can't double cast that. But Speed of Heesh he can, so he could throw that on like both units of Sentinels and move them 12 inches. Both units of Wardens, move them 12 inches. He could throw that on. I'm honestly
just happy he has a cow.
Yeah,
because I love that model.
He's got a cow, can throw that on the cow and the Stone Mage, move them up. Tons of interesting play here. One thing that I don't think you noticed yet, but he has a unit of Alopexes.
I did notice that. That's the first thing I noticed, because we talked about it a while back, and he was like, "What should I ally in, Aaron? What do you recommend?" Or rather, he was just asking everybody like, "What do you recommend?" And he was like, "Any item that Deepkin players," and I'm the one that told him, "Bring Alopexes." They're just so good to ally into anything that they can be allied into. I mean, they're not out of this world, but they're really fast. Like, I will put it like this: I think Alopexes, in the grand scheme of things within Idnith Deepkin, are good, but they don't stand out. But in an in a Lumineth Realmlord army, they are amazing because they have the movement that you've always dreamed of. 14-inch move, and they shoot 24 inches, and they're pretty fighty, 8 wounds each. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a bad pick. It's a good pick, I think, to bring something in just to fill out points. But if I was him, I would drop the Banner Blade and maybe reinforce it and have 2 Alopexes.
I was gonna say the same. Does he have? Yeah, he would have the points for that because he.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
it's 120. The Sharks are 165. He's got 50, so he should be more than fine.
Yeah, agreed. I think agreed. I would do that, or I would drop the Banner Blade and throw in potentially another Stone Mage with the cow.
Maybe.
Which is
he seems
kind of a
worried
weird
about
pick.
Damage too. He seems a little worried about damage because he has a Horror Ghast in here, which isn't that the thing that prevents you from like using Inspiring Presence?
Yeah, but it
seems like he's worried he won't have enough output to sort of wipe things. So my guess here is that he's going to commit the cow into things that he knows will just die from the cow, which is probably a lot of stuff. But also, whenever he wants to shoot Sentinels at something, I mean, only 20 Sentinels is probably not going to wipe things. But if he can cast a Horror Ghast or something out there and put it near something and then shoot them and then they run away from Battle Shock, I think that might be what he's trying to do.
Another thing that's kind of interesting to me, and I didn't really think about this, but he has Lambent Light on both of his Sentinel units, and those are the only units that have Lambent Light. So, obviously, awesome spell that everybody hates, but I love. The Lambent Light spell, and I'm trying to bring it up because I don't know. Will this?
I think Lambent Light would be fine if you can hide from the Sentinels. I really think it's not Lambent Light that people hate. It's just a symptom.
Well, it's interesting that he puts it on the Sentinels because the Sentinels typically you keep back, so the range on Lambent Light is going to be maybe difficult to get that spell off. It's a range of 18. That being said, he's also going to be re-rolling the Alopex's shots with Lambent Light if he gets it off, and the Spirit of the Mountain's shots if the Spirit of the Mountain is shooting into that target. Which I'm pulling up the stats right now, but the Spirit of the Mountain has a D6 damage shot, and it's 3s, 2s, -1. So it's basically Teclis's bolt, which is great. So
it's okay.
You're almost 100% of the time hitting that if you have Lambent Light on your target. Alopexes are re-rolling. A lot of re-rolling if he gets that off.
Yeah,
But why on the Sentinels? That's what I don't really
yeah,
understand. I would imagine you
yeah.
would put
Feeling
Ethereal
like that.
Blessing on the Sentinels and or split it, so one
Yeah.
Sentinel unit has, because they're not able to cast. They're not able to cast. He's basically relying on his Lord Regent getting off protection of Heesh,
Mm-hmm.
which it will it will get it off because it has Arcane Tome, so it's casting twice, and then Power of Heesh getting off on his
Mm-hmm.
on the Lord Regent as well, which will then go out to the Sentinels. But I'm missing why he would put Lambent Light on the Sentinels, not the Wardens, or split it or put it on like
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's kind of an odd allocation of spells. But regardless,
I mean,
I know he's a good player, and I know he has some
he
reason for
probably has
doing this.
reason for, in my opinion, doing it.
But
Generally speaking, I'm sure there's a method to it. I was just saying the only personal thing I would do is reinforce Alopexes because personally, I mean, this might be a hot take for some people, but I just don't see the value in running an Alopex just one.
yeah,
It's they're not they're not as fighty as people think they are,
I I
as we've seen.
I think the thing with Alopexes is their base size is great
Yeah,
for
it's a
what they
really good
do.
base dive.
In like even I was thinking, do I want to take Suffocating Gravetide or whatever to just cast
Mm-hmm.
and be a screen? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they almost have the same size
base size.
base as that Suffocating Gravetide, a little bit smaller, but still to the point
Mm-hmm.
where you really have to get around them. They're flying,
Yeah.
but like they can go where they want and screen what they want out. Similar
Right.
to how like a
Mm-hmm.
Suffocating Gravetide, you can just kind of stick next to you and
Mm-hmm.
just move it an inch and keep it like 2 inches away, and nothing can ever get in combat on your right flank or something because there's a Gravetide there. You know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Alopexes are really good at being like skirmish cavalry kind of thing. Like they're really good at like kind of blocking your opponent and just generally being a nuisance. And like every game I've played with Alopexes, whenever like I lose just one or two or whatever, I mean, it's never been that big of an impact to the rest of the game, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Which is why they're so good. Because they're not so good, you can't lose them. But they're also not bad enough to where you just don't need them. I don't know if that makes sense, but
So, just last thing before we go on to the next match, but World Banner, in addition, once per battle at the start of your phase,
mm-hmm.
you can say this model will draw in power of the World Banner. Anything within 18 inches of this model, if this roll is equal to or less, roll a dice for each enemy within 18 inches of this model. If the roll is less or equal to the number of the current battle round, they suffer D3 mortal wounds and subtract 1 from hit rolls. So that gives them a end of game if this banner blade does not die and stays inside the shrine. I mean, that's like
Mm-hmm.
a -2 across the board because of Shining Company for a lot of these units. So pretty
Yeah,
good,
it just makes stuff tankier.
especially if it's sitting in the shrine all day and not really moving around,
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad pick. I mean I was reading through it actually earlier. I should have said something, but I see where he's going with it. I mean I mean personally,
It's
I
not
know
not
we've
worth
had this
120
discussion many
points.
times. I mean I just don't. Lumineth is super tanky already.
Take
Like
t-
every
take
game I've ever
take
played
two
with you,
Cathalers. That's a better
yeah,
pick anyway.
every game I've ever played with you, just on the base -1, and if they have their wards up alone, I've never outkilled you on anything.
Yeah.
Most of the games I don't kill anything. I kill like one unit.
Again, though, in last point on this, but Connor's list isn't very killy either, or mortal
Yeah,
wound heavy. It's very balanced. So it's a
it's an
really
interesting list.
it's a really toned down Lumineth list that is probably again playing really tactically and looking to
Mm-hmm.
correctly play these objectives. So
Yeah,
Carlos versus Connor, who are you taking?
we haven't even gone over Carlos's list.
Oh,
So
we
we
didn't.
should.
We just
No, we
went on.
didn't. We should go over. We went straight to Connors.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So
going through Carlos, he has the Fun in the Sun Seraphon list. It's Thunder Lizards, so everything is stronger.
yep.
Uh, I don't think he has scaly skin, which is nice, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. He's not coalesced. So he's doing Thunder Lizards. He's got two Bastillodons, so he's just going to be launching those, and a Stegodon. So basically catapults, as far as I remember at least. He's got some Saurus Knights on Lances, so he's got some
Double
fast-moving
Bastillodon.
cavalry units. My best bet is going to be putting the pressure on with the Bastillodons, slowly marching them up the board, shooting Saurus Knights, maybe taking objectives with those guys. He's got Croak, Engine of the Gods, Skin Priest, Saurus Estrella, Bearer with the Purple Sun.
Yeah.
He's got Bounty Hunters, so both the Saurus Knights are in Bounty Hunters. I mean,
This
and
is almost identical to the list that I played. I didn't play it, but I played against it with my Lumineth at Adepticon.
yeah,
I took a techless
I mean,
list and I won, but
it's a pretty standard, I think, Seraphon list.
a lot of damage, a decent range,
Yeah,
good spells being cast.
yeah.
I'm really interested. I think that this potentially comes down to what gets unbound and how much
Hmm.
does each player know about the other army and what needs to get
Yeah.
unbound and how to unbind and when that should be done.
Hmm.
Connor is going to be having +1 to all his unbinds. He doesn't have techless, so it's just a +1.
Right.
Which is going to be rough for him, but I think if he's positioning right, he can take this out. Purple Sun can also be really rough for him.
Hmm. Right.
Negating his Shining Company, eating some of his heroes. I don't know.
Hmm.
I honestly I don't know Carlos, so I can't really place
If
his
just,
playability
I
of
mean,
this list, but
if I'm going based on just list alone, I'm gonna put my money on Carlos. And the only reason for that is, I think Lumineth would struggle with their output to kill these Thunder Lizards, just generally. Lumineth typically struggles with high wound count armies, and you've got like three Bastillodons
I
alone.
mean, you
Just list.
don't get you don't get enough. Like Bastillodon isn't dying to bow shots unless you're getting a ton of mortals
Right.
off. You
That's
know,
what I'm saying. So the
and
reason why I'm saying that is not because Lumineth can't win, but like looking at Connor's list particularly, it has less mortal wounds at
yeah,
range than a normal Lumineth list, and he's going to be using those Stegodons at range, right? So like
yeah,
he's going to have a hard time getting the cow in before it gets bracketed or wounded,
yeah.
because I
Well,
think that guy's just going to nuke the cow, and he's got a purple sun.
kill the hero, kill the cow,
Hmm. Yeah.
kill the stone mage, kill the cow, bracket the cow, let it run around
Yeah.
weak. Like you're
Hmm. Pretty
yeah.
much.
I think
It's a tough one.
I think on lists this is a tough one for Lumineth. It's
Yeah. I mean,
definitely
I've never played
winnable
either of
though.
them.
It's definitely
Yeah, it's
winnable.
definitely. I mean, any matchup's winnable by anyone, right? So,
I'm gonna go with Carlos here though. I think
yeah,
I'm with you on that one.
we're both on Carlos. We finally agreed.
Yeah. All right. Now it's time for you, Statue
In
Man
me,
12 versus
yeah.
Ryan.
Well, I'll just walk right through it then. I'm doing Caradron Overlords, Barak Zilfin. No place for the week, so wiping out my. Well, it's not no place for the week. It's actually the Caradron Overlord specific one, but it doesn't give me the option to put that in.
Yeah.
So if I'm not allowed to choose it, I just chose no place for the week because that's also a good one for Caradron Overlords. But regardless, I have four heroes. I got an Admiral, Chemist, Engine Master with an Engine Harness, and a Navigator. The Aether Chemist is my General, and he's got the Command Trait Collector, so I just get another artifact for free, and I put all four heroes in the Magnificent Battalion, or sorry, I put three of the heroes in the Magnificent Battalion, so I could basically have three artifacts. I got the Voidstone Orb, so I can, just in case I figured I'm going against someone with a Purple Sun, I have a Purple Sun. So in case I cast it, right, throw it out there with Spell in a Bottle, and it's going to be wild after that. So if I get doubled, it could eat my Ironclad. So I thought it might be a good idea to have a Void Stone orb to just snap it out if I need to, which is a safe bet.
So
Staff of
so what is
Hmm?
the Voidstone orb do? I'm just not familiar
So
with
the
it.
navigator, he can. So you know how the Aether Sight thing, he gets an unbind as a navigator.
Hmm.
Basically, once per battle at the start of or in the hero phase, I can, when I use the Aether Sight ability, which means to unbind something,
It auto
I can
unbinds.
I can choose to just auto unbind.
That's smart. I was
Yeah,
wondering why you because you came to me and
went
you're
with
like,
it.
can I change my list a little bit? And I
Yeah,
was
because
like, why did you change this? But that makes a lot of sense because
I was really worried about the purple sun getting thrown back at me if I get doubled, if someone gives me first and I just play aggressively. This lets me play aggressively
yeah,
without worrying about losing too much.
I think that's a
Also,
smart play for sure.
yeah, and there's going to be a bunch of people with purple suns, you know what I mean? And or any other powerful spells, like if I go against someone like the Lord Croak or whoever, and they're going to do that mortal wound bomb on me, and it's going to just destroy me in the one turn where that I just can't take any more damage.
Yeah.
Pop that,
Allows you
and
to pop that and kind of save yourself from like kind of
yeah.
a certain loss, especially
Hmm.
because your heroes in all KO lists, your heroes are
Are
very
very important.
important. You know.
Yeah, so the navigator's going to be having movement and unbinding. Engine master's going to be healing the boat. I don't think I need more than 4 wounds per, you know, round. Honestly, the chemist is a chemist. He throws out spells and he helps thunderers do more damage, even though they're not great right now. Admiral is amazing. He's going to let me turn off wards once per game on one unit potentially, which is a very good thing for me.
Very good. Has
Um,
killed
I
me
got
many
three.
times.
Oh yeah, I got 3 Arcanaut Company. Uh, Bog Standard and Zilfinless. I also have a
Yeah.
Thunderers unit reinforced. The reason why I decided to put these guys in there is because I felt like I just needed more bodies because the Arcanaut Company are not going to survive long, and having another 10 bodies just be able to stand on an objective and be a nuisance might be good, especially since they can shoot and do something from range. I have a gun hauler, and he's literally there to give my Ironclad award. That's it. I want a 6-up ward and 3 mortal wounds at range. That's all I want in life. He's gonna be my little assassin. That's my goal with him. I mean, 36-inch range, 3 mortal wounds on a 5. He's just gonna, whenever I need something to just take a little bit more damage from a distance, that's gonna be my guy. Um, I also got 2 Stormdrake Guard. They're going to be using lances and an ironclad with a great volley cannon. I got 2 engine works. The Debt Settler Spar Torpedo. I don't think you know what that does. It basically lets me do D6 mortal wounds if I charge into you with the gun
I don't
hauler.
think anyone who doesn't play KO knows what anything in KO does. So
Okay, well, it lets me do mortal wounds on the charge, which is kind of funny because I'm imagining 2 steps to every time I say I'm going to charge someone with a gun hauler. Is you what? What are you doing? And then I charge and I'm like mortal wounds, and they're like, what? And I get to explain this, and then I get to do bomb racks. So
yo,
um,
we love bomb racks.
bomb racks are great, and then of course the purple sun, ironclad. It has the last word, so basically double unleash hell. Um, it's in Zilfin, so I get anything that runs auto runs 6 inches. I get to on all my sky vessels. I get to reroll ones on anything that flies, which is good.
That
And
is good, especially against your opponent,
yeah, but
who
only with the sky vessels. So only the ironclad and the gun hauler.
still good if you're getting
Still really good.
charged a
Hmm.
million times, which
Yes,
kind
is
of
what's gonna happen.
moving into Ryan's list here.
Yeah.
He's got Night Haunt, and he's running
Hmm.
Revenant spam, baby. So tons and tons of Revenants, and they are going to be charging, and they are going to be rolling dice
Hmm.
for mortals. Um, not to get too ahead of myself, and I don't want to give away the strategy for how to beat you, but
Hmm.
I think this is a very nightmare list for KO. Your
It can be for sure. It's gonna be a difficult match because
your
everything's
little
flying.
bits of rend are not really doing anything to them.
Right.
They're coming back. Spirit Torment, both Spirit Torments are bringing back um, 3 models
Hmm.
to each unit. You know, if you kill,
Mhm.
3 blade guys, three come back across the board. So you kind of need to wipe out a unit. Um,
Mhm.
you have Knight of Shrouds, which is a great combat piece for buffs as well. Pennant of the Fell Wind, which everything within um, combat of the Knight of Shrouds with the Pennant of the Fell Wind is going to be -1 to
Mhm.
wound.
Yep. Yep.
So tough. Um, I could say what I think he should be doing with this list, but I don't really want to because you're here. But I think this is going to be a big issue for you with your like. What are your
It's gonna be
thoughts? I
tough.
guess on this list.
I mean, it's gonna be a tough list. I mean, it's just funny. Every tournament I run into, it's like I have a nightmare list in my head for myself, and
And
I
then you
always
get
get
it.
it round one. Like you remember last game, it was like the only army that I can't handle is Zinj, and then I got Zinj twice. It's
it's
hilarious.
it's your luck,
And
man.
and then this time I was like, Night Hunt is the only one that's gonna be rough, and then I get the one Night Hunt matchup. So I'm pretty
It's
excited.
it's
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 not unwinnable.
it's what
I don't think.
happens. It's your curse for always winning priorities against me.
Yeah.
You have to fight bad armies for you. So it's what
Yeah.
happens. But I
Yeah.
think I
It's
think
winnable.
here if I have to place a bet on either one, not to like dilly dally too long on each
Hmm.
round, but I'm gonna place it on you. I think you can.
Interesting.
I think you can come out on top of this.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Um,
I think you've got it.
yeah, potentially. I'm gonna say I'm really impartial. Just to be impartial, I'm not gonna vote, but I'm rooting for you, Ryan. Whoever wins, you're a cool guy,
All right, we love that. Um,
Michael.
all right, so into Mike and Ivan. So this is another good old
Wow,
matchup with some
what a
some
name.
Sons of Bahamut.
Grzejka?
Yep, yep.
Is it Greka? Grzejka? I don't know. I'm sorry, Michael.
So
I
list
can't
name
pronounce your name.
End of Man. He has got Kragnos,
Oh, damn.
two gate breakers, and Man Crusher Gargants. That's a list if I ever seen one. So
What's
one
battle line in this list? The Gatebreakers a battle
they
line
they don't
and
have
leaders?
a minimum battle line unit. I think
They don't
everything.
have that?
I
I
think
didn't even know that.
I think everything in Suns is
Dude,
battle
that's
line basically.
hilarious.
Um.
Wow. Tough.
So Amulet of Destiny on the Mega Gargant.
Wow. I
So
think that's a good pick, to be honest. I think Amulet, people are like super dramatic on Amulet of Destiny now being a 6-up, not a 5-up. I'm like, okay, people, listen, it's still great
it's
to have a
still
ward on
good.
something that doesn't normally have a ward, especially something with 35 fucking wounds.
So
Like a 6-up ward is hilarious.
so I mean this is just a Gargant. There's really not much to say about
I mean,
this.
there's not much to say about this, to be honest.
But go
Sorry, Michael. It's go in, smash it,
it's
and move
yeah.
on.
He
I mean, he
has
doesn't even have
Kragnos
any.
though. Kragnos though. So I mean, you kill the Maw Crusher in one charge. If you roll
I'm gonna
good.
assume that he has the Magnificent Battalion because he has 2 artifacts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
So I'm gonna
I
assume
I'm
that's what he was doing.
I probably cut it off in the copy and paste
Okay,
of the thing, but
which is fine. Um,
um, but
but
Ivan,
not much else to say.
whose list we
Uh,
have, we've been workshopping this. He doesn't have all the models he wants, but I think
I mean,
overall,
I know his list pretty well actually because I've played against this list
yeah,
before. Um,
Maw
it's a good.
Crusher.
It's a okay orc list. He's got some Ard Boys. He's got Gorgrentas, a bunch. He just loves brutes, and I don't blame him because they're cool. They're kind of like the Thunderers for KO. They each have a different weapon, which is fun.
I mean,
And
brutes, they're the ones that restrict taking an objective if it has
mhm.
one wound, right? So really good unit
I mean, it's
overall.
a great unit. Yeah, I mean,
They do
he's got a Mega
damage.
Boss, on the Maw Crushes. He's got what's really interesting to me is that he always loves to take the weird Knob Shamans and War Chanters. War Chanters, I see 2 weird Knob Shamans might be a bit much. for me. But
I like a good shaman. Give me some weird net shamans.
well, 3 shamans, right? The only reason why I'm saying it's a bit much is because orcs don't exactly have great casting. So like, here's my opinion. Okay, this is not to discourage anyone, but generally speaking, when you have an army like this and you try to make them magic, like you try to really bring out the magic in them, on paper it sounds like really good, but in reality, you're not going to shut down anyone strategy because anyone who's not doing magic doesn't care, and anyone who does do magic will probably shut you down. Actually,
Yeah, I mean,
like
looking at this here, it's like, cool, you casted Cogs. I'm still unbinding everything with Arcan.
exactly
Against
yeah.
my list, right? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in this a lot of ways, you're relying on Cogs getting off. You just
Mm-hmm.
unbind that, and you have a major issue.
Yeah.
I think the thing that this list is going to do well against is honestly a list like mine, a lot of Mortec Guard, right? Tons of one wound models. It's very difficult for me to take anything from the brutes unless I kill them, right? Anything that like your Arcnauts, right? They don't count on an objective now because the brutes. He's almost
Right.
like he's almost playing so hard into brute spam that it's like anything with one wound is going to be an issue for him. I'm interested to see how this match plays out because there's nothing like that in a Gargant list. Nothing has one wound. So
Yeah.
which direction does this go is basically up to, can Ivan kill the things fast enough, which is really the moral of the story against Gargants to begin with. But like,
Yeah. Exactly.
can he go in? Can he kill things? And does he choose the right one to kill? Like, is he killing the thing with a ward first? Then maybe
It's
you
just
have an
weird.
issue.
This is a weird list. I mean, not a weird list. Sorry, this is a weird matchup because generally, like Ragnos, he does very well, I would say, against armies with bad saves,
Yeah.
which is everything in destruction. I mean, it's very strange because Kragnos is going to charge in, he's going to charge in. It's really going to come down to dice, and who kills more faster. If he can find a way to charge into like one thing and not get hit by everything around him, he could wipe out a Gargant. I don't think
Yeah.
he's wiping out Kragnos because Kragnos is 2-up save. I just don't think it's happening, but it's possible.
Another
seen
another thing to note
everything.
is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 drops here on Ivan's list, which is
Yeah.
fine. He's
Mhm.
definitely losing. He's losing turn, right? He
Yeah,
is
for sure.
probably getting first turn against the Gargants, and he's probably not going to be in range to do any damage that first turn. So
Yeah.
a lot of what happens here is going to be, how smart does Ivan play? Does he choose the right objective? Does he get all of his models set up on that objective?
Yeah.
Does he screen correctly so that the Gargants that get into combat turn 1 are hitting the right thing and killing the right thing? And then does he retaliate aggressively enough to actually make a kill happen, And I think it's definitely possible for him. It's just a matter of like a lot of the kind of the stars aligning, right?
Yeah. I really think that I'm gonna put my money on Michael though, and that's only because his list is much easier to play.
Yeah.
Like Ivan's got to play it really well, whereas Michael, I mean, he just has to march on the objectives and charge into stuff that's within range to charge.
Yeah.
Especially against Ivan's list, where there's no unleashing hell or tricky stuff. It's just eat it. But that being said, the nightmare matchup for Michael, if there was one, for him, there's luckily not one in the tournament, in my opinion. But the nightmare matchup is probably a Idnith Deepkin list for the king, and some eels, is what I would say.
Yeah, murder a Gargant instantly.
They're gonna be 2 of the turns that you have are gonna be, I'm gonna charge into you and you can't attack.
I honestly feel like as well a KO list
it could do well.
does
Kragnos
well,
is a problem.
-1
Kragnos
to
is
rend.
awesome.
You throw a sun out. -2 rend. You're shooting stuff. You just let Kragnos run around.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the only reason why I say it's an issue is because Kragnos is like unkillable, so you just gotta basically dance around Kragnos the whole game.
I
But I mean, KO could also wipe out a Gargant pretty easily, I think.
I
If
also
you're
worry
smart.
about a Nighthaunt list into them. Ryan's list that we went over against you could be
Oh,
really
that's
good.
true.
Lots of
That's true.
mortals on the charge, getting in and
And
out,
lots of attacks
taking no
too.
rend
And
from anything, tons of attacks. That's a
yeah,
Gargants are in a tough
yeah.
place, I think.
I mean, the Gargants are doing well competitively. I think that.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but I think with
yeah,
the meta
yeah,
of
yeah.
this scene right here with a
Yeah,
bunch
that's
of
fair.
yeah. All right, into the next one. We have Pat.
Wait, who you got your money on? Michael or Ivan?
I'm gonna put it on Ivan.
You go, Ivan.
I got faith in my boy Ivan. You
Hell
know,
yeah. All right, now we can move on. Going on to Karnith, Slaneshi supplements. Interesting.
Karnith versus
We got
Joey.
Slanesh. It's Slanesh. We have
Yeah,
33 Bliss Barb Archers. Why they have an 11th unit, I will never understand in my life.
so
That's such a weird number.
let me find his Slanesh
Um,
list. So
every.
I've played this list a million times. Well, maybe not this exact list, but I
Uh,
know what he's doing here.
mm-hmm.
It's a great list. Sigvold
I
slaps.
mean, it looks like a great
In
list.
in my, as I always say, I like having one piece in every list that is kind of your distraction piece. Like I'll throw dragons in my Stormcast
Mm-hmm.
lists, or I'll throw
Mm-hmm.
Teclis or something in my Lumineth list, and I'll like put them out there and make them an issue, and then if they, well, not Teclis, but if they die, like the dragons, right? Sigvald's
Yeah.
kind of that piece for him, where absolute slapping piece that gets out there and will kill what it touches, and potentially will overkill things it's not supposed to kill.
Mm-hmm.
He has the epitome. He's got the shard speaker, whatever. Like they're good pieces to have in your list. The thing I love about his lists that he always has been running is they'll put the archers in conquerors and just keep the archers back at all times.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, that's what everyone's doing with the Idnithikin Reavers.
yeah, and
Pokemon Conquerors and
it's just like the Reavers, I was going to say. It's
mm-hmm.
super effective. They just stand there and shoot, and then
Yeah,
they basically are an unkillable thing that just torments you the entire game. Purple Sun
yeah,
gives them even more rend. It's less of a
yeah,
piece that goes into their list for,
yeah. So many
uh,
Purple Suns. in this,
less
in
for
this
the
tournament.
stupid like killing of a hero thing, but more of it's giving my ranged more rend on what I want to kill. And then everything in Bounty Hunters, like I've been absolutely slapped by the Myrmidesh before in Bounty Hunters, and it hurts, even though that unit doesn't
Yeah.
look great on paper. They can do some good damage when they're in Bounty
And they're
Hunters.
cheap.
So yeah, and they're
Yeah, for
very,
sure.
very cheap. So you have a bunch of them that are really effectively screening things out
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
also doing decent damage to whatever it needs to hit. So
Yeah.
I think this list can compete for
I
sure.
agree with that. Yeah. I
Um,
think the Nightmare list, though, the Nightmare army for this list is also KO, though, because their saves are just bad, and KO can just
stay
like
away.
it can just stay away, and even if you charge into them, like I unleash hell, and like almost everything I hit you with is going through because your saves are so bad
Yeah.
generally. So it's also just a tough one. But then we also have Sylvaneth,
Yeah. So Pat, they're going against
Joey.
Joey.
No, it wasn't Paddock. Karnith and Joey.
Going
Another
against
one that's no place for the weak, and he also had demonstration of strength. Interesting. Take what's theirs was not being taken often here.
Yeah, I think it's not the
I think it's good.
easiest thing to take if you, especially like So Joey's list here, it's pretty
I mean,
unit dry. It's here.
so unit dry.
This is Hero Hammer in a nutshell.
I mean, I can already tell what he's trying to do here. Basically, Lady of Vines for the wards, right? He's got Spirit of Dirthu and Alariel, so whoever's in range to do some crazy charges does them. Yeah, Dryads, Tree Revs. So basically, the Dryads, I'm assuming that the 20 unit of Dryads is probably a screen to protect Lady of Vines and the Dirthu and all those people. And then the 10 Dryads and the 5 Dryads are just meant to be an annoyance and just kind of take objectives when people are not looking.
Yeah.
So basically, Alario and Dirthu run forward, strike and fade away, and then you have Dryads.
So interesting thing.
Very interesting.
Here, I'm slightly. This is just me noticing this now, but I'm somewhat confused why that 20 unit of Dryads is not also in Expert Conquerors. I'm assuming it's supposed to be, and he forgot.
Yeah, let's just assume it. It's supposed. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
I have no idea why it wouldn't be, but
we can ask him on the day of what his intention was, and we'll just trust him.
But regardless, this is a list. Also, I've played Joey before, and I kind of know what he does here. He it's kind of the best way to explain it is like one of those pendulums, you know, and he just has Alariel or Dirthu or whoever makes the first charge on a pendulum, slaps something, and then teleports away. Slaps something, teleports away. He's got a ton of potential to summon other units outside of this too. So Lady of the Vines bringing in some units, Alariel bringing in some units. As long as he remembers it, and I'm saying this directly to him, if he remembers it, you have a lot of units on the board that are all going to be Galatian veterans, all able to get onto different objectives, come in wherever they need, and then he's charging in and pulling out back and forth for 5 rounds, basically.
He can also bring out more Dryads if he needs to, or, you know, some bow guys or sword guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of interesting play here. Taking and holding objectives is going to be a challenge for him. And this first battle plan is going to be pretty difficult, I think, for him, because I'm going to just skip to putting my money. I'm going to put my money on Carnif, which is Pat. I'm sorry. Now I made the connection, which is Patrick. I'm going to put my money on him because that first battle, like, normally I would be more in the middle because it could work and he's never really going to get hit, or he shouldn't be. But then again, you know, you can't really, it's hard to take objectives, frankly, with only 4 units.
I'm kind of with you on that. I think, you know what? I'm actually going to put my money on Pat.
If he stays going second forever, then he'll be fine.
So I think what's going to end up happening is Pat will there are 11 drops. Joey is 6. Joey's going to give Pat the turn. Pat's going to select, you know, a good objective, because I know Pat is a smart player. Choose a good objective to get onto. Position their things in a solid manner, and then Joey is going to be kind of on the back foot, just based off of Pat's smart first turn play. And then I think the issue here is that Pat has objective play throughout the whole game.
Basically, that's the issue. That's the only reason why I'm putting my money on Pat. Not that I don't think Joey's list is good. It's just that in the first, like, this is the same problem that KO. Like,
I don't see what Joey is killing in Pat's list that's going to put Pat on the back foot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
I agree.
It's almost like the thing that always baffles me about Slaanesh lists is that everything can die, and it's almost like nothing matters. You know, it's kind of like a Beast of Chaos list. You can summon more things down the line, and it's like you're killing stuff, but who cares? You know, you just consistently have more things on the field.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So both of our money's on Pat.
I agree. So let's go to Andrew. Got the Beast of Chaos, one of my armies to go.
So Frankie, is playing
Oh, we're going with
Sylvaneth as
Frankie first.
well. So yeah, let's
Yeah.
let's just stick to Frankie because
Mm-hmm.
obviously another Sylvaneth list. Let's just kind of notice how they're
Oaken Brow.
different.
No place for the weak.
Tree,
Also trying to kill everything.
Tree Lord
Uh.
Ancient, another
Mm-hmm.
Tree Lord. So this is actually interesting as well. This is
Yeah.
another big hero
Um,
list. Tree Lord
Tree Lord,
Ancient, Durthu.
Durthu, Branchwich, and he's got an incarnate,
Yeah,
which is I think very smart. Um,
I like that a lot. I really like that. Giving everything in this list basically all out attack makes things really punchy. Incarnate is a tough
um,
piece that's going to be hard to take out, which
mm-hmm,
is
mm-hmm.
sometimes an issue with Sylvaneth. When I play them, it tends to be like you kill two of their heroes and they crumble. So giving
Mm-hmm.
Sylvaneth something that is going to be difficult to take out and is going to be an aggro piece, like I was just saying earlier, like the dragons in my Stormcast lists, something that you can annoy
Yeah,
people with for a while. I think that's a good play here.
I agree. I mean, honestly, as funny as this is going to sound, the biggest detriment to this list would be you ignoring the incarnate. That's it. Like, if you can manage to just ignore that thing
Mm-hmm.
somehow, you'll be fine. Because I mean, it's only 5 bodies on an objective.
Yeah.
You don't need to charge it.
Kill
You know what I mean?
kill. I'm
Like,
assuming the tree lord, and it goes wild, and then it's an
yeah. I
issue for
mean,
everyone.
there's also the thing that if you charge the incarnate, uh, I think the incarnate will struggle against things like Beasts of Chaos that can just have high
Oh,
rend.
kill it.
It's on a 4-up save, and it'll probably die in a turn. Like if you don't position it perfectly, like if you get doubled, that incarnate's dead for sure.
Yeah, I think double
Um,
turns are always hard for the incarnate potentially.
but
Uh,
it's a good list. I like this list more than the last
mhm.
list by Joey, if I'm honest.
I
Um,
I think I might agree. Double tree lord too. So
I
we were
also just, I
we
love Tree Lords. So
yeah, and we've been going back and forth about the pile-in rules on the tree lord
yeah.
in
Well,
Discord, and good fun
hmm
things. But
well, on to the next one, I guess, to Andrew.
yeah, so this is our previous victors list.
Previous Conqueror. He changed his list up quite a bit. I mean,
Yeah.
he's going definitely towards the Bestigors, which I think I was right when I talked to you last time, where I think Bestigors are going to be better than what are they called? Uh, the beefsteaks. Uh, I don't know why their name is escaping me right now.
Zangors,
Not
Ungors,
Sangors, not
Pl-
Ungors. They're
Plangors,
oh Christ, the guys with
Wang
the big axes. Those
Wangors,
guys.
Bulgors, Bulgors.
Bulgors. Those guys. Bulgors. I think Bestigors are probably going to be better than Bulgors in the long run. Because they're more dice,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
frankly.
We talked about
And
that in the
yeah,
battle
yeah, yeah.
report. Yeah.
But here he's doing like Beast Lord, two shamans, which is pretty standard. He's got Wild Rampage, Vicious Stranglethorns, good spells. He's also got a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. This is a pretty standard hero rotation for
Yeah.
Beast of Chaos. He's got 3 Bestigors, right? Which is not something you would typically see, but now I think it's going to become very common. Two of them are in Bounty Hunters, one's in Expert Conquerors.
Yeah. Interesting
Yeah, I
spread
agree.
there.
Interesting. But Bestigors in Bounty Hunters is terrifying. You know what I mean? Like not
Oh
against
yeah.
Nighthaunt, as we learned last battle report, but against everything else, pretty scary. But Nighthaunt just don't take any damage against these guys, so it's pretty funny. But 2 blocks. I mean, 2 blocks of 20 Gores. They're both in Expert Conquerors. One Ungor Raider unit in Bounty Hunters, which is weird, and then another Ungor Raider unit in Warlord Battalion. And then he's got 2 Gorgons and a Cygor. I imagine the Cygors for just magic defense. Um,
Yeah.
Gorgons are also pretty good. I think their Gorgons are okay. They're good little hero eaters, and they can also tear stuff apart. He's got 2 endless spells, the Wildfire Taurus and Ravenax Gnashing Jaws. I think the Wildfire Taurus is also a good pick. He's just probably going to use that so that he can get 2 units to fight before you get to do anything.
What is the reason for putting 20 Ungor
Ravenax Gnashing Jaws.
No, for putting 20 Ungor Ungor. I'm just thinking. So how many attacks does an Ungor Raider have versus a
Well,
Bestigor?
they're the bow guys. I don't know why he has them in bounty hunters. That doesn't make much sense to me either. Um, it
Yeah,
could
that's
be
what
that
I
he
was
wants
thinking.
to sneak a unit of Bestigors, like you know what I mean. Like you're focused on the Bestigors being bounty hunters, but you forgot like the one that he hasn't charged is an
Yeah.
expert conqueror, and it's 30 bodies.
Knowing Andrew, this is probably a super super big brain, like
Yeah,
a super big brain battalion
40 chest.
breakdown.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
necessarily know why that's like that.
yeah. I don't know why though. But regardless, on this matchup, I'm gonna go with Andrew. I'm gonna go with Beast of Chaos here because Sylvaneth struggles because they don't have great saves to begin with.
Yeah,
Now they'll pretty much have no save,
I I
and the
I love Frankie, but anytime I
yeah
have to bet on somebody winning a match, I'm always betting on Andrew for sure. That he's an absolute savage
yeah he's a very good player.
beast of chaos player. So
And I think Frankie's actually a really good player too because I've played both of these people. I'm just going based on the lists, right?
I
And
I
the thing is,
I have to have
we,
a favoritism for Andrew because
okay, well,
he's
I'm not
killed me
I'm
too
not
many
showing it.
times in our path of glories that I
Fair,
can't. I need him to
yeah.
win.
It's just the incarnate. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the incarnate is a huge um piece here in terms of keeping enemies away. Because my best guess would be charging the incarnate into enemies so that they can't retreat, so that they basically lose a turn of movement in their following movement phase.
Yeah,
But that's just not going to stop the Beast of Chaos because there's too many of them.
there's too many of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a thing. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm
yeah,
excited. This is I will say, so far. I mean, we'll get to this, but I'm really excited to see how Table 8 with Andrew and Frankie plays out.
yeah.
Really
Me as well.
excited to see how the Slaanesh match with Pat and Joey plays out.
Hmm.
Really excited for your match personally as well.
Yeah,
In
I'm pretty excited for my match too.
in the Connor match with Carlos, that's going to be a good one too. I'm looking
Oh
forward to
yeah,
all of those.
I want to see all these
Last
matches.
last last game here is Delta, which is Eric
Camille,
versus
Eric,
is Cody.
Hollow Knight, second. He was second place, right? Eric.
So Eric was second place, yeah, last tournament,
Yeah. So he's
and
got three Liberators.
Cody won the one of the tournaments down in
Yeah,
Chicago that we went
he
to.
he won the
So
Dice Dojo one.
yeah, so both really really good players here.
Very
So
like this is a match I'm pretty excited for actually because both of them it's going to be such a finesse match. Like just starting with Eric, you
yeah,
know what I mean? He's got the Celestin on Star Drake, which just like it looks so cool. That's like the one Stormcast model I don't hate. Honestly, it's one of the few ones. I don't know why I don't like Stormcast models. They're just too chunky and they look like Space Marines to me. But I love the Drake. It looks awesome.
hater. Yeah,
I love
agreed.
him.
His Drake
I
looks
love this Drake.
beautiful as well.
Yeah, and it's so well painted. The Knight Judicator. He's got Gardas, Steel Soul, Lord Relictor. He's got some Judicators,
Hmm.
reinforced. 3 units of Liberators and Retributors and Bounty Hunters. The Liberators are also in Bounty Hunters.
Yeah.
Uh, and one of them's, and then you have Warlord Battalion. So he has Drake Skill Armor, Arcane Tome to get an extra spell off, which is spicy. And he's also got the Translocation. I think it's going to be. I think this is a cool list. It just looks like fun to play against and to play.
Hmm.
Like lots of teleporting, lots of charging, a bit of mortal wounds. You know what I mean? This looks like a fun list. I don't
Hmm.
know why. Like it looks like a fun, balanced list.
I'm looking on here and I can't. I don't know what his like holy spell or whatever is.
His what? His spells?
No, like the holy what's it called? The thing where like you can shoot in the hero phase or you can bring back a unit of retro
Entry?
redeemers or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
the Stormcast like holy spell. I don't know what it is. Like
I don't
Thunderbolt
know. Yeah.
Volley. Thunderbolt Volley is one of them. You can do
Okay.
one where you can have your paladins get like an extra damage or something too. I'm assuming
Right.
that's what it is. Um,
Yeah.
9 drops here. It's
Yeah.
really, this is another example, I think, of just a good balanced list. You have the
Hmm.
tools that you need. You have some spells. You have translocation. You are, making sure that gets off consistently.
Hmm.
You can move your pieces around where you need. Issue here for him, I think, is going to be just losing a big
Priority.
hero model and losing priority, because you get doubled against a list like this, and I think anything with shooting has trouble. But the
Hmm.
Judicators obviously have a lot of output. Um,
I mean, anything doubling this army. This is a textbook example. I mean, as weird as this is going to sound, I honestly do put KI. I mean, not KI. Sorry, IDK. Ident Thiefkin in the same category as Stormcast with regards to armies that don't want to be doubled ever, because you can literally wipe out almost an entire Deepkin army in just one double turn. Same
yeah.
thing with Stormcast. Like if I wipe out 4 pieces, which is not that difficult to achieve, I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this edition, you've lost all your steam. You know, this is an army that's usually very synergistic. It's very particular with what it wants to do, and not having every piece hurts. And this is just one of those armies.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just my opinion.
It
Uh,
it it all really hinges around his Star Drake remaining safe,
yeah,
doing what it
yeah,
needs to do, dealing the damage it needs to deal.
yeah. I agree with that.
I like this list. I think it I also, and last thing on this, but I think it does a good job of alleviating some of the issues that Stormcast has that you just brought up, which is low model count,
Hmm.
because having all these like the Retributors, the Liberators, a bunch of bow pieces that are shooting, it kind of gives it a
Hmm.
little bit more of staying power, and you have to really choose your target and decide where you want to go.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
You go into the Star Drake, and I mean that's on a what, like a 3-up save or something. You go into
Hmm.
that, you're having difficulty chewing through 18 wounds, and
Yep.
you're now leaving 15 Liberators on the field, a bunch of mortal wound shooting. You really got to
Yeah.
pick and choose your battles and know that you're going to kill the thing you go into against this. So
Hmm.
this is a list that really capitalizes on your opponent incorrectly playing into you, right?
It's a weird MSU Stormcast list.
Mm-hmm.
So like you just said,
It's very
you can
similar
never choose correctly.
to the list that he played last time. I think it might
Yeah,
be the
I think
exact
so as
same
well.
list. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
interesting there. I mean, into the last list, it's Cody's list,
Cody. We
which
love
is
Cody.
which yeah, we love Cody.
Take what's theirs. We got Arch Revenant, Spirit of Durthu, Warsong Revenant. He loves the Warsong Revenant, and Dryja. He does love Dryja. We got some tree revs, Kurnoth hunters with great swords. He's got 6 great bows. Bite Swarm Hive.
No
Very low on bodies.
no spell portal. He's able to
Nope.
bring out some
But isn't he doing the thing that lets him cast through the woods anyway?
yeah, I guess he doesn't necessarily need that
I mean, he has
anymore.
like 5 spell portals on the table. So
So is he doing the War Song Bomb with this list? I don't know what the new Sylvanus list
it
looks like.
looks like regrowth, Greenwood Glen. I mean, I've not played too much Sylvaneth in my experience. But it seems like with their new book, and this is a running theme with all of them, they're very low on bodies. Very low on bodies.
He's also not taking Alariel, which I think the
No.
last time I played him, he had Alariel. Um, actually, I know the last time I played him,
I
he had
think he just
Alariel.
likes Drycha too much. You know?
Yeah, which I think is fine, and I think Drycha plays really well into like our local meta.
I
Because
agree. I mean,
Drycha
I
get
don't think Drycha's bad at all.
like, if you
I think
see
she's
here,
really good.
not a lot of shooting really across
Hmm.
the board, so
Yeah,
we have kind of a
generally
combat
no,
heavy meta.
which is nice.
He has the unit of 6 Kurnoth Hunters,
Yeah,
with the bows. Everything's in a battle regiment. A couple things,
they're
right?
4 wounds a pop, right? Or 5.
Wait, why? Yeah, so he's got 4 drops. Yeah, I think they're 4 wounds a pop. They're doing good damage.
Yeah, tanky.
I mean, the thing about Cody is like he knows he's another guy who just like knows how to play his army. He's a Sylvaneth
Mm-hmm.
player.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying.
I
I
mean,
need
new
to.
book though.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I don't think he's gotten tons of reps. I want to pull up the. I'm pulling up the War Song Revenant's War Scroll spell.
I mean, Colonel Hunters still slap. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's going to be an issue with this army in terms of hurting anything because I mean, a lot again. I just Sylvaneth can kill what they need to kill and not take damage. The problem is, I think this is another third army I would put into stuff that just doesn't want to get doubled.
Mm-hmm.
Because they really don't have the bodies to sustain too many losses. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you get a good double turn and you wipe out a bunch of their hunters, I mean, which is saying a lot. They're 5 wounds a pop, so that's 30 wounds.
Yeah.
You know, minus 1 rend, 2 damage a pop, 4s and 3s. I mean, I don't know, man. It like a smart player would probably try to maim them so that they're not doing as much damage at range.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, it's 12 shots only.
Yeah.
So, um, it's not horrible. I don't think they're as damaging as they used to be. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like they are, at least. I mean,
Take what's theirs. That's the get into the
yeah,
opponent's territory. I don't.
have more of yours on theirs. Well, yeah, I don't think that's a good one for Sylvaneth
I
generally
don't
because
think that's a good Sylvaneth one.
they don't
Which
have the. I mean, this is a list that's gonna need to kill shit quick,
yeah. So he's up
is my
against
opinion.
the Stormcast
You know,
list.
he's
Demonstration
up
of strength,
against.
which is put your dudes in the middle of the in the middle of the board. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think I gotta put my money on this round for
put your money
Eric.
on Eric. You said, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. To be honest,
I think
just because.
battle tactic wise and also grand
Yeah.
strategy wise, I think he just has more play. And I think that
Mhm.
Cody's gonna have a hard time chewing through what Stormcast
It's not having a hard time
has.
chewing through things. I don't think it's just that like I mean those bows are gonna delete maybe one thing that has a 4-up save, right? A turn.
Yeah,
And he can't split his shots because that's too risky, so he's gonna end up maybe killing some liberators with those guys. Okay,
but that's
whatever. Or
that's the
maybe
thing.
adjudicators.
He's not really chewing through anything realistically. Like that's important. He's not going to be able to hit if Eric plays well, which I'm sure he will. He's not going to be able to hit any of the important hero pieces. He's not
Yeah,
killing the
exactly.
Star Drake, the Lord Celestin on the Star Drake. That's not happening. He's maybe killing a couple foot like units, which I think for Eric that's not the issue. You know, when you're trying to keep your heroes alive and you're killing the foot units, not necessarily a big deal. And that's what I
I
think
agree.
Cody's list is
Yeah.
going to be able to do against this Stormcast list specifically. Um,
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think it's probably gonna go to Eric because Eric, in my opinion, has an easier grand strat to achieve for his army. He's
mhm.
got more units for board control purposes. Like he can take objectives more easily.
Yeah.
I mean, like again, I think this first battle plan that's going to be chosen is one of the most difficult for third edition books in
I
general.
I do also think like it's interesting to think about here. Um,
Well, not third edition books. I'm sorry, small sized armies. Armies with
yeah,
not good objective play
it's
really struggle on this battle plan.
it's interesting to put here though as well that Cody will have choice on who goes first. So potentially playing it well, he could be playing objective play really, really smart on this,
Mm-hmm.
which, as we know, this battle plan for round 1 is really dependent on what is getting activated. So does Cody go in and choose the right objectives to activate, get his people in the right spot, kind of like we were saying previously with like the Slanesh match. You get those models in the right place, it's difficult to come back, especially if you're like losing. Even if you win priority, you might be choosing to go second to activate better objectives for you. It's a lot of thought into where things pop up. So
Yeah.
does Cody just play strategically against this match, knowing he's not going to be able to chew through things? Maybe. I don't know. It could go either way, but
It could go either way.
if I had to make a bet, I'm putting it on Eric.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's literally just because of how this particular battle plan works is all.
Yeah.
Which is taking particular objectives, which, I mean, again, it's going to have to come down to Cody maybe taking second turn and never giving it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I think.
Potentially.
I personally think going second across the board for this is the number one play for most armies.
For most armies, not for every army though.
Choosing what objective is absolutely huge on this.
I would make the argument like maybe one of the few armies that's not the case for is maybe KO, depending on the matchup. And the only reason why I say that is because if you can double with KO, you should. Almost always.
I think that's fair, but you can even go back to like our matchup where we played this with KO, and my Stormcast were picking every single objective. And
oh yeah, but I didn't double you. Is what I was saying. If I had the chance to double you, like as a KO player, I mean I'm wiping out everything that can take objectives.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Basically. But yeah, I mean I guess that concludes the list reading.
Yeah, that's that. So we I'm excited to see how this goes. I'm excited to see everyone, in the community come out. I know there's going to be some people popping in that, aren't playing but just saying hey. Obviously, if
always welcome.
That's always welcome. But yeah, super pumped for this. Last thing before we leave, plan is to have the top table for round 3 not being streamed but recorded. So we're gonna get the players mic'd up, hopefully, as long as everything works well there. Get the camera up. It's gonna just be a table shot because we just don't have the resources to get everything like a full battle report. But want to get that happening. Depending on what the quality looks like, maybe I'll just narrate it based on what I can hear, or I'll just get the whole matchup. But definitely want to get that up so we can see the top table.
Also, if me and Jake happen to get matched in the second round, we'll record. Why not?
Or if we get matched up in the final round, you never know.
Oh, in the third round, yeah. If we're both at the top table by some miracle.
Based on our first round matchups, I don't know how possible that's gonna be. But yeah, it's gonna be good. So I'm excited for that. Keep an eye out for that on the channel. But yeah, that's a wrap.
Right.
Thanks for hanging, Aaron.
Thanks for watching. Thanks you for inviting me as always, Jake. And we'll see you guys Sunday. Well, you'll see us on YouTube, and we'll be there Sunday. So
yeah,
I'll be have fun.
I'll be posting this within the hour, and then yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Well, everybody enjoy, have fun, be nice. We all know everyone in this community is pretty nice, so we're all there to have a good time, right?
No hate, only love.
No hate, only love. I also say whenever a purple sun eats anything more than 400 points, you have to give your opponent a hug.
I think that's fair. But are you saying if you are the person hugging, like if you're giving the hug, you're the person whose purple sun ate your opponent's hero? Or
yeah.
Or like I personally think if I drop a purple sun if I drop a purple sun and then I eat your boat, I think you
Mhm.
need to come give me a hug and say
No,
it's okay that you ate my boat.
I think you need to console me and then let me have go through the stages of grief. You know what I mean? Let me deny it, then let me have a little bit of like a God damn it, and then I hug you back. In the end, that's the idea.
All right, so anybody who's gotten here, should the person who has their son eating something else be giving a hug, or should they be receiving a hug because they feel so bad for the son eating the big hero model? Tell
Let
us
us
in the
know.
comments and let us know. We need to know what the correct answer is.
All right.
But with that being said, we'll see you guys next time. We've got the OBR Cruel Boys battle report coming out next week, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, looking forward to Sunday. See you guys.
See you guys around. Take it easy.